أحمد. أحمد.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. So inshallah, we're going to be giving people a few more minutes to settle in. So inshallah, we'll be starting around 6:40, bidnillah. Okay. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So my name is Alaa Albaalbaki, and my partner in this project is Ahmed Adookkattil. And what we've created is something called Tawfeeq Academy. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the word Tawfeeq, what it means, or in the Arabic language, is it has to do with success, right? There's no perfect translation for it from Arabic to English. But what it has to do is with success, but by the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's something that we're going to keep in mind as we go forward through all of this, is that we're here to help your children succeed. But it all comes down to their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we can move on, we'll go over what we're going to cover in the project today, inshallah. So the first thing we're talk about is our mission. Then we're going to talk about the strategy and timeline of this project. The third thing we're going to go over is the credibility and experience of our tutors, me and Ahmed. Next, we're going to talk about the score guarantee. Fifth is the financial info. And then sixth is the three-way partnership, which in my opinion is the most important part of all of this. So the first thing is our mission. What is Tawfeeq? So we founded Tawfeeq, me and Ahmed, because we were both in a rival prep program. And we realized that we were not getting all that we wanted out of it. And the tutors there could simply just not relate to our experiences. And so we founded this initiative with the mission that we were going to utilize all the knowledge that we had both gained, taking the SAT, taking the PSAT, our success and our improvement through these years. And we were going to try to pass this on to other Muslim students at ISI so that they have an easier time going through it with a database already in place for them. So what sort of things are we planning to work on? Standardized testing, PSAT, SAT, obviously. Next thing, important skills, public speaking, debate, you know. And then another thing that we're offering for free this semester along with the project is college preparedness. So what is this? This is Common App writing. This is writing college essays. This is what should you be looking forward to put on those Common Apps, like internships, volunteering, etc. What sort of things can you put on there? So I just went through this process, alhamdulillah, as we'll go forward, as we'll mention later on, I came out of it better than I expected, alhamdulillah. And so I did all the research for it, all the studying, and I'll tell you, it's a very hard process to go through. And so we're offering that for free included in the SAT program this semester. Another thing is just general knowledge, advanced sciences, essay writing, mathematics. Even if your child's in 7th, 8th, 9th grade, maybe they don't have to worry so much about SAT, PSAT yet, but just the knowledge that they'll gain because of this course will definitely benefit them going forward. So next, we'll move on to comparison. So Ahmed's going to take over right now.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So currently, the focus of this program is the SAT prep and PSAT prep. And with this, you have a spectrum of options. Basically, you have the free side and the really expensive side. So on the free side, you have things like Khan Academy, where it's completely free. However, this comes with a lot of problems. It takes a lot of time to actually improve your score because there's zero teaching.
Just come here. There's two things I wanted from you. This email. See this. See, look, this email. Okay. First, I forward from my email, right? How can I get rid of that? The forward, and I'm sending to you this email to this lady.
Okay, inshallah, if we can.
Okay. So with Khan Academy, although it's free, there's so many problems because it takes such a long time for you to actually improve your score because there's zero instruction, there's no classes, there's no actual teaching. All they have is questions and practice tests. That's all they have. So because of this, they have really low score improvement. And then on the other hand, you have KD, which is pretty much what a lot of ISI students have been taking for the past couple of years, but which is the problem that me and Alaa have realized that is not actually helping students and is very inefficient. So KD costs around 2,500 to 3,200, depending on when you start. And we understand that for most people that this is a lot of money, right? And the question is, do you actually get your money's worth? And we're going to argue that that is not the case, because even with KD, it still takes a lot of time to improve your score. When I took KD, I think I took KD for around 2 years, and then I would say in the last year of my KD prep, I barely improved my score, maybe 20 points, 20 points after paying thousands of dollars, which I think you guys can agree is not much of an improvement. And the fact that I spent 2 years to improve my score on a SAT test doesn't really make sense because students have a lot of other things to focus on, and we don't want to waste time studying for one test, right? And this is due to an inefficient teaching, lack of personalization, and there's no follow-up with the students, right? Because KD is a program, more of a business sort of kind of thing, KD doesn't have the sort of connection that we have as students of ISI and part of the ISI family, right? So they don't follow up with the students, and there's too many students, so they can't individually focus on each student, right? But then the one positive of KD is that because you're paying so much, you do get access to a lot of resources, which is something that we don't currently have, or we don't have at the same level as KD, but we think that we offer just enough for your student to improve, and practical material and individualized material, which is what's important. And then in the middle of the spectrum, you have Tawfeeq Academy. So with Tawfeeq Academy, you have something that's, although it's paid, is definitely a lot cheaper than the 2,500 you're paying for KD, but we have pretty much everything that KD has, such as personalization, personalization. And then on top of that, we focus on specific issues with the students. So let's say they have a problem with this grammar thing. We can focus on that one-on-one, tutor them and all that, right? KD does not offer this, which is why it takes so long to improve with KD. And then we also have a low student to teacher ratio. That means there's more focus between the teacher and the student. And then also we follow up with the student. Because we have such a small class size, we can keep up with the student. Oh, okay, it seems like in the past few weeks that we've noticed that a problem that you have is in this grammar rule, like with semicolons or something. Okay, here's some practice problems, and here's some lessons that can help you improve on this specific area. And then on top of this, as Alaa mentioned, we have free college prep this semester, which is definitely something to look forward to. And then our main benefit is our guaranteed score increase. So as I mentioned before, our program is paid. However, we do guarantee that you're going to improve your score by this many points, which is something that neither KD nor Khan Academy offers. And if we do not meet the guarantee, we will refund you a percentage of the cost for the program, inshallah. And then next, we'll have Alaa with strategy and timeline.
So I was talking to one of our teachers, Ustadh Abdul Rahman, earlier this week, and he told me that when it comes to prep, there are 3 areas that a program can focus on. There's content, there's coaching, and then there's follow-up. So Ahmed already talked a little bit about this, but I'll explain where Tawfeeq is in this spectrum, right? For content. Because we are not charging an exorbitant amount of money, and because it is only 2 tutors, and because this is the first year of our program, we don't have a huge database of questions / content to draw from. Programs like KD, like other programs, they have people whose sole purpose is to create these questions for them. So we don't have this database. However, what we do have that these other programs don't is we are going to create personalized worksheets, videos, and study materials for each individual child, right? So while these other programs may have so many questions and tests, they're not going to sit there and look at your child's mistakes and create questions that focus exactly on those niche areas where they're messing up, right? And that's what we're going to do. Because we're starting completely from fresh here, we have that luxury and that freedom for me and Ahmed to sit together 10, 15 hours a day and just create these questions for you. And that's the commitment that we're trying to put in here. Now, the main thing that we want to focus on here is coaching. Unlike these popular prep choices, Tawfeeq is for ISI students by ISI students. And what that means is, unfortunately, here in America, right, these programs are not specifically catered for students from a private school, right? Which means they don't necessarily understand your child's exact situation or their shoes. And especially for me, when I was filling out my Common App, writing my college essay, I found it difficult because they don't really give many options for, okay, your class size is 30 students, private school, these courses you took, right? These options just don't exist because, alhamdulillah, ISI is such a pearl that does not really exist in high quantity and everywhere else, right? And so because me and Ahmed have been in your child's shoes, we can tell you that our coaching will be completely personal, specific, individualized to your child. Now, the main thing is follow-up. It may be enough in some people's eyes to provide the tools for success, even drill it in the child's head. And then once you do that, okay, alhamdulillah, we've prepared them. It's time for them to go face the world. We don't see it that way. For us, we are going to give the tools for success. We're gonna teach it. We're gonna instill it. But if you don't meet those goals, you're not on your own. We're gonna be with you every step of the way. Let's say you fail the first time, the second time, the third time. You're even on your 4th take of the SAT. We're gonna be with you through every step, monitoring your progress, giving you more materials, etc., and letting you reach your end goal. And that includes SAT, that includes APs, that includes, all these different things that we're planning on offering going forward in the future, inshallah. So the timeline. So inshallah, we're going to be having our first class this Saturday, February 17th. It's going to be between 11 to 1. So inshallah, you can come, pray Dhuhr, and then leave, right? In between that time from 11 to 1, we'll have our class. So this first class is going to be considered a free trial. Obviously, this is something new to ISI. And so it's kind of difficult to sign up, pay the money that we're requesting so that we can run the program without first getting a taste of what it's going to be like, which is why this Saturday is a completely free trial. Students and parents may attend, just students, just parents, however you want to do it. Look at what the program is, look at our initial class pitch, and then after that, following the class, decide whether to enroll. If you do, we're going to be meeting with the parents and the students one-on-one to set the future goals and the timeline and telling you what we need from you. Following that free trial, inshallah, next week is missed. So many of your children are going to be going to that competition. So we will be off for that 1 week. During that time, me and Ahmed are going to be catering and creating worksheets and entire study programs for the students who do enroll. So following that week, we're going to have, if we can go, okay. Following that week, we're going to have 2-hour classes every Saturday for 16 weeks total leading into the summer. Our estimated last class day is the 22nd. Another thing that we're offering that most programs don't offer is we're going to have a special session before and after every SAT date with those students taking the SAT, first to review, and then afterwards to review again and troubleshoot, so that they get a full holistic view of that SAT. Next, we'll talk about our credibility and experience. Ahmed will talk about this, inshallah.
So, alhamdulillah, me and Alaa have been part of this SAT prep thing for quite some time, and we've been able to perform quite well. So Alaa got a 1490 out of 1520 on the PSAT and a 1590 out of 1600 for the SAT. He got accepted to top 10 university and was a national merit finalist. He's also the projected valedictorian for this school year and the Adookkattil president. And also, because it's a tutoring thing, both of us have extensive experience in tutoring kids, and we have recommendations like from teachers that we are good at explaining concepts and teaching students. And then on my part, I got a 1500 on the PSAT, 1580 on the SAT, current NHS vice president, projected national merit semifinalist, and PSI coach for 2+ years. Inshallah.
So if I can interject here, when we're sharing all this, it's not so much as like, look what we've done, right? It's more, this is to sort of show you what sort of experience we have improving ourselves. So I'll share this, and I originally didn't add it on the slideshow, but I'll share it now. My very first SAT or PSAT experience, you could call it, was in the 7th grade. I took the PSAT for that grade, and I achieved a score of 1170, right? Which by no means is bad, right? But for me, in that time, I was not satisfied with myself, right? And so from that point forward, I continued to work on myself, elevate, continue to move forward. And alhamdulillah, lots of steady progressions. Like it's definitely not something where you just make sudden jumps, right? It's more like a marathon that you take with yourself. And so with that work, alhamdulillah, we've achieved these different various things, right? Both me and Ahmed, I'm sure Ahmed will agree.
Yeah, I do, inshallah. And then also, yeah, I want to add on here that what I realized is that there's some the focus of the SAT should not be on taking a lot of like practice tests like that KD offers, but rather focusing on your niche issues and mistakes and common parts that a lot of people miss, because that's actually how I made my improvement. I believe I took my second SAT last August, and I scored a 1470, which alhamdulillah was pretty good. But then after I stopped focusing on KD practice tests, funny enough, and started focusing more on, okay, I'm making mistakes on this type of reading questions. I'm making mistakes on these specific grammar issues, and actually drilling those and talking to people like Alaa and Alaa about how to improve your scores. That's actually where I made my 110-point jump from just in like 4 months. I got the 1580 actually on my December SAT of that same year, alhamdulillah. So we can continue, inshallah. And then next part, here is the core of our program, you could say, our guarantee, something that no other program offers. So inshallah, when your students sign up or when your child signs up for this program, we will guarantee them that they will increase by this amount depending on where they are currently. So let's say your child is scoring below 1200. we will guarantee that they will increase their score by 140 points, which is like a 1340, right? And just for like perspective, getting that 140 point increase, that's like thousands of dollars in like scholarships, potential admission into better universities. So the value you're getting just by investing a little bit of time and money is so much multiplied, right? And then as you can see here, as your current scoring range increases, our projected guarantee score also decreases, because obviously it's a little bit harder to improve somebody's score if they're already scoring in like the 1450 range. But we still offer a pretty good range. So like if you're scoring between a 1450 and a 1470, we'll still guarantee you an 80-point increase, which is still very significant. And then to make sure that we meet these guarantees, if we do not meet these guarantees, we will offer a 50% refund of all the money you've put in. So the idea is when you admit your child into this program, you're 100% sure that they're going to improve, and if they don't, you're going to get your a percentage of your money back. So it's a win-win situation and no risk and complete reward, inshallah. And moving on. Okay, financial information. All right, so the cost for this program is going to be $25 an hour. So that's 2-hour classes every Saturday and 16 total classes, which is approximately $800. So what is included with this? You get a 2-week free trial, which is this Saturday and the Saturday after missed. And this is basically for you to test out, oh, is this program worth it and all that. And then 2-hour classes after that every Saturday for 16 weeks. And then something special we're doing this first semester, because we're just starting, is college prep and admissions guidance by Alaa, which is something which will probably be a cost in our following semester. And then once again, a 50% refund if the guarantee isn't met. And then finally, the payment will be automatic through OneWeb, so you won't have to like manually pay through Zelle or something like that. It will be automatically deducted through OneWeb. Right, inshallah.
So, Ahmed, if I can just interject a little bit in that last part. So obviously, right up front, when you see this, you're like, oh, well, it's a student-run program, right? How could it cost so much money? Well, look at it from the perspective of what is it like? What am I getting out of this instead, right? So first of all, these costs, what they cover is the hours that me and Ahmed are going to be putting in with each child. We can guarantee that we're going to be spending at least a minimum of 20+ hours with every child, whether that's face-to-face talking to them, guiding them, mentoring them, or creating their program, right? But then other things, for example, we are planning to invest in developing a program and an app to help your child progress. So there's a lot of different investments, especially going on in this first semester. But I'll tell you what you could be getting out of this 800, right? What I have and the scholarship that I'm gonna try to pursue, inshallah, is the scholarship from UTD. It's the NMSQT scholarship, which inshallah Ahmed will be receiving as well. And what it is it's 100% full scholarship for all 4 years, plus a $4,500 stipend during for every semester that your child's in that year, which is 8 semesters total, right? So rather than paying for university, instead you're gonna be making money, right? You're gonna be making $36,000 total throughout university, rather than spending the 80 or 90,000 that you would usually spend. And that's from an $800 investment into your child's future, right? Another thing is the college prep and admissions guidance. I'll tell you myself, when I originally was starting out in doing Common App and writing essays, I was looking for some sort of program online to help me. And I'll tell you, there's not a single program that I could find that was willing to give me one-on-one tutoring for less than $100 an hour, right? And so for it to be offered for free here, I can promise you it's a great resource, and all of this should be taken advantage of, because inshallah, in future semesters, we may have to have that be a separate package, inshallah. So we can progress here. So now we have the fruit of our program. And what this is it's a 3-way partnership, right? I should have written 4-way partnership, because obviously everything is with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we can work together, but it should all be with Allah kept in mind. But for student, tutors, and parents, here are the responsibilities. As a student in this program, you're responsible for keeping up with the work and information. Everything that we give you, all the things we tell you to study, the worksheets we hand out, all these things, you have to keep up with that, right? We can guarantee a score, but if the child is not willing to improve themselves, there's nothing we can do. Having a committed and optimistic outlook. Now, a lot of kids, and this may not be a problem that you're aware of, parents, but a lot of kids simply don't believe that they're capable of achieving these scores. And that's so far from the truth. In fact, I saw this thing online where it was saying that the maximum a person can improve is 100 to 150 points. And that's something that's instilled with students like, I can only improve this much, right? So a person who's scoring 1200 might believe, okay, you know what, I'm going to aim for 1350. That might be all I can achieve. That doesn't work, right? Because if you aim for 1350, you're probably going to achieve lower than that. And so we want all of our students to come in expecting to receive perfect scores. And we want them to keep working and have that optimistic outlook that they're going to achieve that. And so that way, we'll get them as close as physically possible. But if they don't achieve it, at least they'll be very, very close, and that'll be great. Next, tutors. What are we responsible for? So we're responsible for providing the proper education and the materials, obviously, and for coaching and guiding students individually. That means that while it might be tempting to create packets for everybody all at once so that we save ourselves time, our main responsibility is that each student is going to feel that they're looked after, right? And it reminds me of a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where it was said that, you know, everyone around him felt that they were his best friend, that they were specifically special to him because of the way he treated them. And that's the way we want to approach this program. We want every single student in our program to feel as though they are the student. They are our, like, they're our main ambition, right? And that's what we want to go into this program with. And for parents, those of you here today, your responsibility is you have to show your students support, right? You have to be there constantly supporting them, encouraging them, you know, helping them sign up for the SATs, for, you know, like timing their tests, etc. Another thing is you have to keep diligent with their assignments, right? We're going to be giving them assignments. We're going to be making sure they complete them. We're going to be having check-ins, but ultimately we can't go home with them and make sure that they're doing them. So that's where you guys come in. We're going to send out, inshallah, itemized reports every week, every bi-week, maybe every month, of what the student is responsible for submitting. And it's up to the student, inshallah, like the student will be responsible enough to do it. But if not, we will be sending you that they have not completed their work, and it's up to you at that point to keep diligent, because it is an investment, you know? $800 is not a small amount of money to be investing. And so we just want to make sure that everyone is getting their time and their money's worth out of it. And the last thing you'll notice I wrote in every single one is communication. That is the main thing that we all have to work on in this program, is that we're communicating. If the student does not feel good a certain day, or if the student wants to do something, they have to let us know. We can only help them with what they let us know that they want help with. Parents, if you're facing an issue with the student, you have to let us know. If they're unwilling to do work, you know, we all have to be kept in the loop, inshallah, so that everyone gets the most out of the situation. And inshallah, that's it for our presentation. We'll open the floor up now to questions from all of you. Feel free to unmute your mics or text in the chat if need be. So, Assalamu alaikum, Sister Da'at. I'll talk about myself first. I took the PSAT from 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and then finally 11th. So that's 5 times. And there are different SATs though. You start off 7th, 8th, and 9th. I took PSAT 8, 9. PSAT in the 10th grade, I took my first try with PSAT NMSQT, and then 11th grade was my second try PSAT NMSQT. And Ahmed can speak for himself here on what he did.
What was the question again? Could you repeat, inshallah?
The question was, how many times did each of you take the PSAT and in which grades?
I took the PSAT is like a test that we take every year, alhamdulillah. So I took the PSAT 8 and 9 in 8th grade, 9th grade, and then PSAT 10 and 11, and then the SAT twice in the fall of junior.
So I got another question, alhamdulillah. Salam, will this be offered next year too? If my child's in 10th grade, he will be taking the SAT and MSQT next year. Would it be a good idea for him to take the course next year? So, inshallah, we're hoping that we can continue to offer this as long as possible. However, I would say that starting in 11th grade may be a tad bit too late. And that's not to tell the 11th graders in here that they're too late to take the course, because you can always improve. But in 10th grade, especially, if you start in our program now in 10th grade, you'll be so far ahead of those in your class when it comes to SAT prep and tutoring that by the time you get to the NMSQT, you may not even have to worry about it because you are already so far ahead and prepared for the SAT, right? And inshallah, we haven't fully talked about all of this, but we're planning on having some sort of renewable concurrent thing so that students can continue to come back, or at least we can offer a session for that student going forward, right? I would recommend the prime time to start in the course would probably be the end of 10th grade, but I would also reiterate that no matter what grade that you're in, this will definitely be beneficial. Assalamu alaikum. What if for some reason our child misses a Saturday every now and then? How can they catch up with that missed session? So Ahmed, you actually had a plan for that if you want to cover that.
Yeah, so if your child misses a Saturday class, right? Because this is an individualized course, you can, because we're like high school students, we'll have the time to meet up with them, maybe schedule on Sunday. Maybe if Alaa's not available, I can available, but there's always an option to like reschedule a class, inshallah. But obviously, we want for the students to be dedicated enough to show up if they can to the Saturday class. And then also, here we have another question by Dr. Leila. How many students are allowed to join? So our current outlook was 30 students, but that might be lower to 20 students because we are starting this as the first time, and we want to make it as smooth as possible, inshallah, and everybody improve their scores as much as possible. And then let's see, next question.
So if I can interject there, Ahmed, obviously we would like to include as many students as physically possible, but the root of our reason for having any sort of limit is that we want to ensure that we can focus individually on that student, right? If we have 50, 60 students, then the class to student ratio, the teacher to student ratio is now 30, 25, right? Whereas if it's 20, now it's 10 to 1, which is much better, and we can focus individually on that student. And that's part of the reason why the price is $800, right? Maybe if we opened it up, maybe if we made it like 400, 300, we would have 60, 70 students, but then your child would not get the support individually that they need from us. And so, Ahmed, if you want to continue now.
All right. And then next question we have is, what grade levels are we targeting? So we're currently targeting 8th grade to 11th grade, with the more focusing on like 10th grade and 9th grade, because that's like the biggest opportunity for improvement. But that's not to say that we won't allow 11th graders. And then the reason we're opening it to 8th graders is because although this program is focused on the SAT, there's a lot of benefit, and I know Alaa can attest to this, is that there's a lot of knowledge to be learned from taking the SAT, whether it's math, making yourself faster, actually like properly learning grammar rules, which is something I think a lot of students don't know, and learning to read and understand complex reading passages. Okay, Alaa, you can continue.
As part of that, funnily enough, for the PSAT and MSQT in 11th grade, the night before, I did like an 8-hour review of grammar because I realized that was my weakest point, right? And alhamdulillah, the next day I flew through the grammar section. And at the time I was very happy, you know, like this grammar that I'd gained in this had helped me so much. I breezed through the grammar section. But what I didn't realize was how much it would help me also going forward. So now, alhamdulillah, like my use of grammar is very, very strong. And in a DC course, I took English 1301. I had a teacher comment to me on an essay that like my use of colons and semicolons was impressive considering that I was a high school student, and they don't really see focus on those typically in high school. And that's the main thing. These skills are going to help you throughout all of academia, whether you're in 8th grade, 11th grade, whether you've passed SAT time, whether you're not even approaching SAT time. It's going to help you so much in grades, GPA, all these other things that are so important for college. The next question is, some students have science fair regional this Saturday. Will you have another tryout? So there is no tryout for the program. Alhamdulillah, we're accepting as many students as we can before we reach the limit. But if you mean the free trial, unfortunately, this Saturday's format for the class is going to be different than most Saturdays. And so while we can potentially meet with the student one-on-one to relay the information and get the same outlook that we are going to give the rest of the students, we won't be able to offer a completely new trial as a makeup. If this Saturday's classes are group classes, what's the schedule for one-to-one sessions? So here's the outlook for our Saturday sessions, and I'll explain them to you here. We don't have the full format already developed, right? That's a work in progress, but I'll relay to you what the idea is, what the image is that everyone is in very different stages, right? those scoring between 1,000 and 1,200, generally, they could use improvement in every section: math, reading, science, math, reading, writing, math without calculator. They could use improvement in every single section, right? And so we're going to be doing is we're going to be splitting the class up originally. We'll put students who seem to be struggling with a little bit of everything together at first. Maybe those 8, 9 students, we'll put them together and we'll drill them on everything. And then the other 11 will be in a separate area and they'll be meeting with the other tutor one-on-one. We're going to go over their specific issues. Obviously, that's subject to change. Maybe we'll adapt it so that we're meeting with every student like 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. And in between, they're working on the packets that we give them. We come back to them, right? But our aim and our focus here is that majority of the class is going to be one-on-one. There's not going to be a lot of sitting in a classroom setting and looking at the teacher talking. Most of it is going to be one-on-one. Obviously, once we get the students, we'll be able to see how they're scoring, what their mistakes are, and we'll be able to set that out more like standardized and let you know, inshallah.
Also like to add here, we do have a focus on individualized learning and all that, but there are some areas that me and Alaa have noticed, especially such as grammar, as we mentioned before, that a lot of students, even surprisingly like high 1,400 scores, are missing, like grammar. Like I've talked to some kids and they tell me, oh, I ask them, how do you take the grammar section? They go like, oh, I just see how it sounds, but that's actually not how you do it. And although it might seem like, oh, that's fine now, the SAT actually tricks you with that thinking in order for you to lose points, right? So common issues that pretty much all students face, like grammar, as well as how to use the calculator in math, because with the new digital SAT, they have this new calculator, which allows you to do a bunch of stuff, like a lot of tricks, how to solve questions really fast. We'll have 1 or 2 or 3 classes explaining all the stuff to like all the students. So there will be classes like that for the students as well.
So the next question is, do you consider it too early for 8th graders? Now, like we mentioned before, obviously with 8th grade, there are still many years to come before you take the SAT. However, in my opinion, it's always best to start early, right? Because you can never be too prepared. On top of that, even if let's say the student does not walk out of the class with a 1,600 SAT in 8th grade, which is obviously very, very difficult, they're going to walk out of that class with so much knowledge in math, reading, writing, that starting next year, once their GPA matters, they're going to be so far ahead of their classmates in terms of essay writing, math, reading, all these different things, that inshallah, high school is going to be a breeze for them. And on top of that, they'll have all of the tips, the tricks, all the various things that we're going to share in the class for their benefit when they do approach SAT time. Next question, is there a qualifications you're looking in order to accept students? No, there's no application for your student to be accepted. Inshallah, it's going to be first come, first serve basis on the form. If you sign up and you're part of the 20 or 30 limit that we're going to set, you're in, right? There's no student that we consider too far behind for us to help, and no student that we consider so far above everybody else that we cannot help. We are going to help everybody. Very specific, very individual. Next question, are there female tutors? Not at the moment. Inshallah, once this program gets going, we're planning on hiring more and more tutors. And inshallah, we will hire sisters as well eventually. But as of right now, it's just me and Ahmed. Alhamdulillah. So, Ahmed, now if you want to continue.
Okay. What if a student's SAT date is coming before the 16-week period is over? Do you have an expedited program or / fast course option? So we currently don't have like an expedited program. However, we could put extra focus on your student. And as I mentioned, before the SAT dates, we're gonna have like special classes reviewing over key concepts, such as like the grammar and all that. And if the SAT date is super early, we can have like individuals classes, maybe 2-hour classes, especially for your students, as well as other students who have the SAT date soon. Because I know there's a couple of students who are taking the SAT within the spring season, so inshallah we'll have a program for them too, like timing for them too, inshallah.
So I got another question privately, and I'll mention this because it seems to be a recurring theme. They asked, do you offer a verbal only option? So I think the way many people are looking at this is in relation with other programs like KD, where they give you a big packet and they tell you, okay, this is everything SAT. You're going to take this in this time frame and you're going to go over everything. That's not how our program works at all, right? Our program is not just a steady set of books or worksheets or packets that we're just going to hand out. Okay, now you've moved on this, now you've moved on to, now you've moved on to this. If your student is exceptional at math, right, and they don't need help on math, we're not going to waste your time. We're not going to make them attend 8+ math sections that they already know how to do. We're going to focus only on verbal with them, right? We're going to be helping your student where they need help. And we're going to do this at their own pace. If your student can finish going over everything in 8 or 9 weeks and come out the other side with a perfect SAT score, alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik, we're good, right? We are not going to slow your student down. We're not going to make them take things that they don't need to take. All of it is going to be very, very specific and personalized to the student, which is, I know it's a new concept, but that's how we're going to do things this year, inshallah. So, Ahmed, if you want to cover the next question.
The next question is, Salam, with the SAT going digital, I'm curious about your plans for the sessions. So we've already kept this in mind. Alhamdulillah, I was able to take the digital PSAT, so I'm already familiar with the digital SAT format. And Alaa has looked over released practice tests from College Board, so he's also familiar with the format. And the general idea is still the same, right? Because once again, this is an individual focused SAT course, right? So we understand how the digital test is. It's quite similar to the paper test, and any of the changes, like the calculator I mentioned before, we're including that in our program. So this is a completely up-to-date program focused on your individual needs, whether it's digital, like depending on what you need and all that. We focus on all that. So we don't have any really adjustment on that, inshallah.
So another thing is, the main changes that the SAT becoming digital has now is just in terms of time management, for example, and like the format of the test. The skills are still the same, right? The same grammar that was being tested years ago is still being tested today. The same math that was being tested years ago is still being tested today. In fact, if you go and buy those updated SAT books from McGraw-Hill or wherever else it may be, you'll find that the only updates they've made are very, very slight, and they have not changed much of their content. They've just slapped a new name on it and called it the digital SAT, right? And so we are not doing that. The only thing that digital has now meant for us is that we now need to review before we come out with classes for time management, for things like that. And so inshallah, that'll be in the middle or the latter half of the 16 weeks. And during the first 8 weeks, we're going to focus on what everybody really needs, which is those skills. The next question I got personalized was, are you open to accepting HIFZ students that are not attending ISI? So I believe HIFZ is under the umbrella of ISI. So yes, inshallah. And are you going to do this again in the summer? We are currently planning on it. However, we have not renewed anything, so it is not a complete guarantee. It's going to be all based on how this first pilot semester goes. But inshallah, we would like to keep it going for a very, very long time. We just have not renewed it officially yet. Ahmed, go ahead.
And then, okay, so the next question is, how are the students picked for the class? As I mentioned, it's going to be first come, first serve. I know we did send an interest form previously with an email, but that form was just like to gauge the interest and see how many people are interested in the program, if it's feasible or not. But that's not the actual formal sign up. We're going to have another form with all the details, the costs and all that formally. And that form will be sent out soon, inshallah. And that will be the actual official sign up. And then I know this like quite concerned that we don't have that many spots available, like 20, 30. But I wanted to mention, this is not like a one-time thing. Inshallah, our next semester that me and Alaa have been talking about is going to be during the summer, right? And then we have another one during the fall, and it's going to be something that's going to reoccur. And then we're going to hire more tutors so that we could expand the classes and all that. So if you're in 8th grade or 9th grade and you think that this is like the only opportunity, there's still a chance to sign up in the summer session. But I do think it is important that you try to sign up this time, inshallah, because we do offer the free college prep and all that.
Yeah, so like Ahmed was saying, there are always, inshallah, obviously, because none of it is renewed yet. It's all based on how this past semester goes with the school admin, everything relating to that. We cannot confirm that there's going to be future semesters, but there should be, inshallah. And if we achieve over the 20 or 30 and you sign up, we'll put you on the wait list for the next semester to automatically get put into that. But like Ahmed was saying, we're offering many things this semester that we might make a separate course next year, such as the college prep and the college admission tutoring, all of those things, which you know, I think would be very beneficial to people of all ages because, for example, no one really tells you what you need for colleges until you get there, right? The very first time you hear that you might need honors or awards or 5 that you have to put on your Common App might be the first time you open Common App, like it was for a lot of seniors. And then where they're struggling, like what kind of honors? Because ISI realistically does not give out that many honors through your years of schooling. They don't give out many trophies and things of that nature, right? And so when you get there, you're struggling. What do I put? What do I put? Things like that, just an outlook on what it is and expertise, obviously, from the months of research I put into it. Those are things we're offering this time around. So I would recommend trying to be the first to sign up this time around. But obviously, if not, we're going to be open, inshallah, next semester with the will of Allah. And can we pay according to the number of sessions our child needs instead of the 800 altogether? So the thing about this is, like I said, if your child can achieve a 1600 within 4 or 6 weeks, alhamdulillah. But that's not where our course ends, right? Our course is primarily focused on SAT. But like I said, there's college prep. There are other things that our course offers that is not just SAT related. And unfortunately, it would be far too difficult for us to make it split up session by session, because then that way we would not have the commitment or the connection with the student to know that they're going to keep coming, rather than it's like a pay by basis. Come $50 here, they're going to come for this class only. And honestly, it would be unfair to the student if they only came once every like month or 2 months. It would be unfair for them because only getting that amount of help and not being followed up with as we would be in this program, they would not be able to achieve what a normal student would be able to. So for that reason, it's all or nothing at this moment. Okay. So I believe that's all the questions for here. I'll put my number in the chat. If anybody would like to reach out to me to ask any other questions, they may do so. I'll answer this last question and then we'll call it that. Anyone may call me and then anyone may text me. Sorry, please don't call. Anyone may text me any questions that they have and I'll respond as soon as I can. So I'll respond to these last 2 questions and then that'll be it for this meeting, alhamdulillah. So for 8th grade, we need help with college, road, major, PSAT, and may not be SAT for now. How can this be accommodated? Like we mentioned, very specific individualized program. If your student needs help primarily with the college road, with PSAT, they can do just that, right? We are not going to focus on SAT if they don't want to focus on SAT. We would recommend it, but obviously personalized, specific for the student by the students, right? Assalamu alaikum. Is it one-time fee or a fee per semester? So it will be a fee per semester. Obviously, we have not fully gone into all of it. I was thinking personally that we would do some sort of some sort of subscription where you can sign up for another semester for a far lowered cost, things of that nature. But seeing as we don't have any students yet and we don't have everything fully laid out, and this is the pilot semester, we don't have that all in mind. But as of right now, it is a one-time, it's a fee just for this semester. And we hope that the 16 weeks will be all your student needs. And when will we send out the form, inshallah? I'll answer that question. When will we send out the form? Inshallah, the form will be sent out tomorrow or the day after at the latest, and we'll send it out to parents and students. And keep in mind that the form is a confirmation. We will have to close out the form once we reach 30 students. So if you're signing up, you are committing to this program. So if you do need time to think about it and would like to experience the class, I would recommend not filling out the form until you've gone to the free trial class. However, if you believe in the program and you would like to confirm your spot, fill out as soon as possible. Okay. Jazakumullah khairan, everybody. And that'll be it for this meeting. We'll send out the recorded meeting, a spreadsheet, a PDF of our slides and the form as soon as we can. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.